Hello and good evening. Welcome to Likutey Moharan Shir, Torah Base. So we were holding before. We're saying we're holding in Likutey to every level that you are holding on is the euphemism for this is by you it's called Torah. And any madrega that is above you, that you haven't reached yet, we're holding towards the end of Seif Yud. And any madrega which is above you, you still haven't reached it. It's euphemistically, it's called either Torah Hashem or Tefillah. Both, either this or that. And the Rebbe starts, interjects here he is explaining that you're going up from one madrega to the next. From now, this is your Torah. This is the madrega that you're holding on. And then there is a tefillah. There's the madrega that you're not holding of yet, but you're yearning for it. Your eyes are always locked in on the next level. When we learned the Spuri Maaseh from the prince that was made out of precious gems, and we said that there is a bechina of a tzaddik who is bechinas bas, and the tzaddik is bechinas ben. And we says that the bechinas bas, the tzaddik bechinas bas is tzaddik l'chol hadeos. There's no two ways, ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's 100% tzaddik. Talmid Chacham and everything. But the ultimately it's a tzaddik, and not just a tzaddik, but everybody who is congregated together with that tzaddik that exists on a certain plane. This is where I hold it. I wake up in the morning, I have a kaviyah itim Torah, I wake up before dawn, I wake up this, and then I go to work, or I go to Kailul, or whatever it is that I do. This is my turf. This is where I'm holding. This is called a tzaddik b'chinas bas. And then there is, but what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants is a tzaddik who's b'chinas ben. Not just the tzaddik, the leader, but each and every one of us who are connected to the tzaddik, b'chinas ben, that we should also be a tzaddik b'chinas ben. And as opposed to a tzaddik who's b'chinas bas, where you're satisfied, this is, you keep on learning, you keep on, but basically, it's you have your work cut out for you, you have your rank, you have your whatever it is, and Baruch Hashem, you just, every single day you learn Torah, every single day you daven, every single day you say Tehillim, beautiful, great. But this is plus minus your routine. Then you have a tzaddik b'chinas ben, which is your eyes are always on the madrega that you don't have yet. You're full with your Shemaim. You're filled with busha in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You need to get that madrega before you. Lahavdil $1,000. We'll get a little bit to the busha inin, but lahavdil $1,000. You can see in Olam Hazadik Inyonim also the same thing. Most of the people, they own a business or they work by somebody, and that's it. What else do you need? You don't need anything else. You work, you get up, you go up in rank in the company where you're working, and it's time, you buy yourself a house, you get a mortgage, and Baruch Hashem, and after years come, you marry off the children, step by step you go up. Maybe you have a business, maybe you work by someone, but basically it's a flat trajectory, as it were. But then you have people for whom, Begashmias, it's never enough. They want more and more and more and more, whatever it is that they have. It's not enough. They need to have. In fact, it's not even so much that they need to have more, but they need to keep moving. They need to advance. I mean, you're wondering about these very wealthy individuals. They have so much money that there's no way that they can ever spend it. Them and their children and their children's children, and I don't know how many generations. There's no way. I mean, what difference does it make to you if you have $100 million or $1 billion or $100 billion? What does it make? To your lifestyle, it doesn't make a difference. Even they say, they have a competition between one another, billionaires. They said that, so why do they care about where they are ranking in Forbes, whatnot? The answer is because the money doesn't matter anymore. I mean, how much money they have is only a way of keeping score. It's all about competition. It's all about going ahead. It's all about advancing. And you can see the relentlessness of it and the uselessness of it in sports. In baseball, the most common thing that people say is like, wait until next year, right? And then, okay, they won World Series and or Super Bowl or and you won it, and everybody's happy. It's unbelievable. It's and next year they're starting, everybody's equal. So what do you have from that? It's not about that at all. It's about keeping going. This is, in this world, that you have absolutely nothing from it, except what you manage to use for Torah and mitzvahs and actually acquire infinity with it. But anything else, it doesn't make any difference. However, the kingdom of heaven is reflected by the kingdom on earth, meaning that the tzaddik, or the person who is Pchinas Ben and not Pchinas Bas, is somebody who is ceaselessly yearning to get higher. Now, when I'm saying, ceaselessly and, without stop, you have higher times and lower times. Sometimes you can see that your life is these are very, high-flown talk of, wanting it all the time and whatever it is. But the Maisa, that's not how I live my life. That in itself is a source of busha. as long as I talk about it, as long as I mention it, as long as I keep it in mind, that it is all about Avodas Hashem. It's all about getting closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And look at me. I'm not even, for me, I'm just talking the talk, but I'm not walking the walk, am I? The answer is, yeah, this is where the busha comes in. But there's a busha that comes in on a higher level as well. When you get dressed in the morning, get out of the house. Okay? Obviously, you don't wear dirty pants, dirty clothes, and whatever it is, you have a certain level of decorum, all right? Which you keep. Some people more, some people less. We learn what's a Shabbos, last Motzei Shabbos. We learned on the fact the Rebbe said it pasel b'bigdoi that the wife Potiphar grabbed Yosef's garments, meaning that the Samech Mem, the Yetzer Hara, tries to grab a person by the accoutrements of life, the clothing, the apartments, the cars, whatever it is. And that's the way it sways him away from Avodas Hashem. But let's just say that, you're not, head and tails into, something even more than that. Let's say that you're a person who is makpid on the way that you're wearing. You come out of the house, you're wearing a coat, you're wearing a hat, you're wearing whatever it is that you do. And you're getting into a place. You're getting to kollel, whatever it is. You're taking off your coat, you're getting this, and suddenly the king comes into the room. Odom Godel Be'emes, real. And you're standing there. You're dressed totally appropriately, for the regular sitting down and learning or davening or working, whatever it is. Suddenly, this very, very important person comes in. This big tzaddik comes in, and you literally feel undressed. You don't feel naked, but you feel like, in the presence of this melech, of this, I'm standing here, like I'm sitting there eating sunflower seeds with my friends, in the street corner. It's a busha. Being steeped into this world, into the shtuyot of this world, the way that I am. Knowing that there's a Kodesh Baruch Hu in the world, wherever I'm sitting, wherever I am, a Kodesh Baruch Hu is here. It doesn't matter which madrega I'm at. It could be the highest madrega or the lowest madrega. Kodesh Baruch Hu is right there with me, and He sees everything that I'm doing. And La'ased Lavoy, this is everything that the person does. He thinks that he's alone in his house. And it says, there are witnesses to what I'm doing. The stones from the walls are going to be my witnesses. He did this, I did that. When he saw that nobody was looking, this and this and this is what he did, and this and this and this is what he watched, and this is how he spoke. The busha is you're standing in front of a melech all the time, and you don't even realize it. In other words, you stand in front of the melech, you know it, but you don't really know it. You still make allowances to a little bit, okay. The king will close his eyes, if I watch a football game. Well, or whatever, each one according to what he does. The yearning to the higher madrega, to my pchinas tefillah, to my pchinas nishma, to pchinas that which is Teres Hashem. This is the din of tefillah. Is a yearning to internalize the awareness that I am in the presence of the King, to the point that it becomes soaked in my bones, that somebody like me does not do certain things. And those things that I don't do, or those things that I do, things that I need to do and I do, they all come commensurately with how aware I am of the presence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the world. The omnipresence of Hashem, and the fact that after 120 years, they will come and we will leave this world and we will be standing in front of the naked truth. We'll be seeing everything that we're doing right now from the perspective of standing before HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The biggest madrega that we can achieve in this world, that we can hope for in this world, is to have the busha on our face. As Rabbeinu said once to Yasser Nosson, did you ever feel such a year from HaKadosh Baruch Hu that you blushed? The yearning to getting closer, the yearning to getting to the next madrega, is a poal yotze, is commensurate with the amount of blushing, as it were, or the understanding that I may not blush now, but I know that I'm going to. So there is an element of blushing even though I'm not blushing yet. I'm blushing in potential. And that in itself is a yearning to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That in itself is a Yiras Shamayim. You can call it a pathetic Yiras Shamayim. You can call it a so-called Yiras Shamayim. You can call it a theoretical Yiras Shamayim. You can call it whatever you want. It doesn't matter. But the point is that you're not going around in this world, self-satisfied and ta-da, here I am. I'm wearing my fancy clothes. I'm driving my fancy car. I live in my fancy home. And so this is the union of Yiras Shamayim. It's the union of Yiras Shamayim. Yiras Shamayim is not, in fact, the Zohar Kodesh says, speaks very harshly against that kind of Yiras Shamayim. Yiras Shamayim that is just predicated upon what's going to happen to me. I'm going to get shmeist. I'm going to get hit for the things that I do wrong. Alavai, we should hold it or have that Yiras Shamayim. Rabbeinu said that this is the entryway to all of Avodas Hashem. You can't start Avodas Hashem without Yiras Oynish. But as I told you, that Reb Shimon Teichner said that the difference in Yosa Einish and Yosa Oimimus is that, when you go to a picnic and you see a lion from half a mile away, you get your entire family back into the car and you skedaddle because you're afraid of what the lion is going to do if the lion pays attention to you and comes over to check you out. On the other hand, if the lion is 30 feet from you, you're frozen with fear. There's nothing you can do. You can't even move. It's not even that, what the lion will do or will not do. You're totally annihilated. You lose all your sense of self before the fear of the lion that is standing in front of you without bars between the two of you. Lehavim $5 you have a Kadosh Baruch Hu. If you think that just having a line in front of you is tongue-tying, how much more so is Kadosh Baruch Hu? You can't. And this is what we're yearning for. That is a tzaddik pchinas ben, that you all the time you want to get closer and closer and closer. And when you are coming closer to tzaddik, when you hear the voice of the tzaddik, the more you hear, commensurate with how much you hear the words of the tzaddik, how much you hear the asoga from your own neshama, the greater the drive that you have to get close and to keep on going, to keep on getting closer all the time. So this is, and Rav Nosson said, okay, why are we talking about anybody who davens for his friend? And Rav Nosson says that what Rabbeinu says is to come to a point where you brought the unknown inside and made it yours. Another level, and another level, and another level. Ultimately, you get to a point where you are in the very tip, the very beginning of creation. When you're in the very beginning of creation, you're in b'chinas tchila, you're in b'china of the very, very beginning. In order to get there, you have to be totally annihilated before Ein Sof, like you don't exist anymore. The line is less than 30 feet from you. You can't move, but it's not the line, it's a Kadosh Baruch Hu. It's not about, what will happen, what won't happen, but it's a recognition of the greatness of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. The only reason why we use a line is because the line is such a great example. How you become totally frozen, totally paralyzed by the sheer gvura, the sheer might that you are confronting. That's what happens in a sudden thunder. You have this boom, you have this explosion with great fear. It's not even a question of what will the thunder do to you. Thunder won't do anything to you. But the expression of gvura is so overwhelming that, I don't care how big a zlob you are, whatever it is, you're shaken. You're just like, boom. You're like, before you even have a time to realize, it was just a thunder, you're tittering. This is before Kadosh Baruch Hu. You become bottled, you become an onov. He says only when you become an onov you get to the tchila with all the madregas that this entails. So last time when we learned it, we spoke about that, like, why does Rabbeinu uses this example? Whoever is davening for his friend and he needs the same thing, he gets answered first. It's a Mama Chazal. It also explains that when you get to such a madrega, that you're such a mevutli, you're such an honor, you're so humble, you don't even feel your own interest for. You care about your friend more about yourself, and you're davening for him. It's because you have already included yourself. You fuse yourself into infinity. You become Ein, and when you are answered in the Tchila because you are holding in a place of Ein Sof, of Tchila. Okay. So the question is, why Dafka, when you're describing such an immense, incredible madrega, why do the Rebbe uses such a mashal that sounds almost like, listen, you want to learn a trick, you want a Kodesh Baruch Hu to answer you, I'll tell you what, you daven for your friend, you happen to do the same thing, like you need parnasa, okay? Your friend needs parnasa, you ask for him, and you'll get it first. It's a trick, like you fool the system, as it were. Why Dafka this particular example? So he said it's a possible explanation is that it's actually the other way around. The main idea is not to get your tefillah answered. Your main idea is to become humble, and to become onav, and to become included, infused into Ein Sof. Now, how do I become an onav? How do I do onav exercises? How do I do humble exercises? Oh, I'm worthless. Forget about it. Oh, I'm so bad. Oh, man, let's just forget about it. Leave me alone. Just leave me. Just go. That's not how you do it. It doesn't work that way. The way that it works is you daven for your friend. If by being onav you daven for your friend, it works the other way around also. When you daven for your friend, you become an onav. We say the same thing in Torah base, second Chelek Likutey Moharan. The Rabbeinu says, that there's when you let this, the blood come up, and they push on the heart, and the heart beats and shakes off the bloods, then the bloods come, flowing again, and this is Pchinas Toido. Everything becomes copacetic again, and you're giving thanks to Kadosh Baruch Hu. It sounds like Rabbeinu is describing a certain, okay, listen, this is what happens. When the blood comes up, there's a big trouble, and the heart is, you're getting scared, whatever it is, it ends up with the blood's going in order, and you're saying, thank you to Kadosh Baruch Hu. That's why we Chanukah, fine. But the point is that Rabbeinu is giving you a mechanism that works backwards as well. If you come to a situation where you are under duress, and you are under distress, and the bloods are coming on the heart, and the heart is beating, the heart is scared. The way to put things back in order is by saying thank you to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It doesn't just work from this way to this way, it also works from this way to this way. In fact, the entire Sefer Amidos, that which is called Rabbi Nachman's wisdom, works on that particular principle. If a person has an easier time, Rabbeinu says, for instance, that the Shmir Sabris is closely associated with the midah of, gaiva one side and nova on the other side. Which means the more gaivadik a person is, the more it brings him to becoming less moral in these inyonim. So Nosson explains, why does Rabbeinu tell us that? Is because this is what is happening under the hood. You're working on yourself to become close to Kodesh Baruch Hu. So let's say that you have a problem with gaiva. What can you do? You're Mr. Wonderful. What can you do? Wherever you go, there's not, I'm the best. What can I do? Go to everybody, just check me out, guys. I'm unbelievable. I love preening. I quell with compliments. I'm fishing for compliments all day. Heck, I'm going with a net fishing for compliments. And there's nothing I can do about it. What am I going to do? On the other hand, maybe I don't have that much problems with, with the morality. I mean, yeah, everybody does, but it's not out of. So by telling us that the two of these are interconnected, says you can work on the one that you're having more trouble by working on the one that you have less trouble. If you have problems with gaiva and you can't break it down, or forget you have problems with morality, but gaiva, no, you're not holding so bad. He says work on the other midah. You're having problems with gaiva, work on tznius. Work on morality. It will enable you to get the gaiva down. And the other way around as well. If you have problem with, with immorality, with lack of tznius, work on your gaiva. What does it mean work on your gaiva? If your wife, puts you in your place, and if she's a woman and a Jewish woman, specifically, she has to dig into you. That's what they do. That's what women do. That's their role. And you feel like 2 cents. Maybe 5 cents, maybe 10 cents, I don't know, but it's somewhere between 2 and 5 cents. And you feel awful because you feel like such a loser. Such a no-goodnik. She does you flat to your face, and you just like, in the very beginning, you'll lash out. Why? Because you have resistance to that. Makes you feel like a shmigegi. You don't want that. So you're saying whatever it is you're saying. Hey. Okay. Once you understand that this is not what you need to do, and this is avoida on gaiva, and this is avoida as a husband giving his wife the time of day, so you're sitting there, and you're listening. What am I doing by that? I'm willing to feel worthless, diminished, humiliated by my wife, and not run away, and not resist it. I can feel as much as I can feel, but the feeling when it's not going to kill me. In fact, the feelings are not facts. I feel a certain way, but it's associations from other things. When my wife projects me straight into the face, and she says the things that I cannot answer, and I feel like, oh man, I can't believe it. I feel so bad about myself. Okay, I accept it. But ultimately, I want to give her the gift of listening to her, dig into me because she needs to. And I'm here, I'm a husband. In fact, this is my success as a husband. There's nothing more, yes, there's a few things more, but one of the greatest things that you can give to your wife, the most giving husbandly things that you can do for your wife, is to listen to her, dig into you, and not run away. I'm not even getting into the nakuda that in itself, once you do that, she will turn around and will get close to you and will give you all the cover that because then you deserve covered. That's what Rabbeinu says in Torah Vav. Yishma b'zyoino yidem v'ishtak, when you hear your own humiliation and you're keeping quiet, with this you are zoche to kvod Elokim. You are zoche to kvod, to a godly honor. And such an honor is not being questioned ever. If you are willing to hear the bizyonis from your wife, she has to come. She will come to honor you, Kvod Elokim. The Kvod Elokim it's a call that cannot be questioned. It's only if you demand Kavod, okay, demand Kavod, who the heck do you think you are? But if you don't demand Kavod, you have a Kvod Elokim, because you are willing to accept. It sounds counterintuitive, but that's the truth. This union of another, you work on the another. When you're working in another, and your wife, by the way, is the best fitness coach for another there is, ever. Anybody's wife. You don't have to hire a coach. You don't have to go to a gym. You don't have to go to the sauna. You have to lift weights. Your wife is the best another coach there is. All you need to do is just sit there and take it. When you do this, this in itself will already outfit you, will get you to Shmiras Habris, to morality, to tznius, to kedusha. So these things work both ways. If you open up Sefer Amidus and you take a look, you see this is connected to this, and this is connected to this. So if you just open up Sefer Amidus, it says like, I understand what Rabbeinu is saying here. Okay, so this is going to do this, going to do this. So what? I mean, like, okay, no. So in a place where the house where this is this, it's such thing as a. Okay, it seems like so opaque, but it's not opaque. It's just telling you exactly what is happening underneath the hood, so you can work with it. You can work with it. This leads to this, leads to this. Okay, find out how you can use it. As we begin the Torah, the B'chinas Av v'Ben, Mamar v'Chatzi Mamar, a father and son, a full saying and half a saying. Ki Nasa u'B'chinas Nigla. That level of Nasa is that which is revealed. B'chinas Torah, B'chinas Bara, B'chinas Ben, B'chinas Eden Tatorah, the lower Eden, B'chinas Chochmet Tatorah, the lower Chochmet, which is the Malchus, B'chinas Chatzi Mamar, half a saying. That which is evident to you, that which is overt, that which is you're aware of, that is which you hold, that's your madrega. I have all these synonyms. Ben, Nigla, Torah, Bara, Ben, lower Eden, Chochmet Tatorah, lower Chochmet, Chatzi Mamar, half a saying. This keneged, vis-a-vis, when is it called all these euphemisms, all these adjectives? Keneged and nishma. When compared to the high madriga above you, the nishma. Okay, so if the nasa is nigla, Torah, bara, ben, eden tatorah, chochmet tatorah, chatzi mamar, so the nishma is the bereshis, the full mamar, chochmeh ilah, the upper chochmeh, the superior chochmeh, the eden ilah, the superior Eden, the b'chinas Abba, Av is father, b'chinas tefillah, b'chinas nistar, b'chinas hidden, nistar satira. This is the lower madriga, this is the higher madriga. All these adjectives are synonyms for these two madrigas. Rabbeinu tells you a principle. Ki kol darga neged darga shalamanu. Every level, when compared to the level above it, constitutes b'chinas chatzi mamar. It's like a half a saying. And Rabbeinu gives an example. When the father is speaking, he's saying a full saying. When his son, says, repeats what his father is saying, he's just saying half a thing. I'll never forget that. Many years ago, today he is 43 years old. He was less than 3 years old at the time when this story happened. My eldest son, we were driving in the car, and he was 2.5, almost 3. He was sitting in the car seat right next to me. And as we were driving on the Brooklyn Queens Expressway, right next to us, traffic was, rush hour traffic. There was a cement mixer going, big, huge. And you know how toddlers are with cement mixers, whatever, big trucks. So I told him, you see this? You see this truck? This is called a cement mixer. And I said, you know what it does? It mixes cement for people to build buildings. That's what I told him. This is a mama. So my son, who was less than 3, said, and he says, cement mixer. He says, you know what it does? Buildings. Chatzi mamar. Cement mixer, you know what it does? Buildings. So you have me saying the whole mama, this is Av, and you have the son saying, it becomes like a thing in our family. Whenever we see a cement mixer, we go, buildings. That's every family has its own, these cutesies, little thingies that you remember when your kids used to say when they were babies. So what the father is saying is called Mama Shalom. Like what the father is saying is a full mama. What the son is saying is Chatzimar, is half a mimer. The son is saying V'chen kol darga neged darga shel mal mimena. Every level, vis-a-vis, compared to the level above it, Upchinus Chatzimar, it's only Chatzimar. In other words, that Madrega, which until now was the Mama Shalom, Bereshis, Av, Eden Eloah, Chochma Eloah, whatever it is you want, when compared to the level above it, it's only half a Mama. It's like a baby when compared to a father. And the level which is above it is considered a full Mama compared to this one that you're holding. From one level to the next. Listen to this. Now Rabbeinu is making it even wider. It's not just spiritual or intellectual levels, but all the people and all the animals and all the birds and all the plants and all the things that exist in this world, in totality, comprise P'chinas Chatzi Mamar keneged ha'olam shel l'mala mizeh ha'olam. When compared to the universe which is above Olam Asiyah, you have Olam Yitzira. And when compared to Olam Yitzira, we're only half a Mamar, we're half a saying. Olam Yitzira compared to us is a Mama Shalom. But the Olam Yitzira, when compared to Olam Bria, which is above it, is again a Chatzi Mamar. The Olam Bria is Mama Shalom. Same Olam Bria, Olam Malachim, Olam Asrafim. Olam Akisa, the Kisa covered, when compared to Olam Atzilus, is also Chatzi Mamar. And the Olam above it is Mama Shalom. Because they are only illusions and things alluding to much higher levels than they are. The same principle works from one universe to the next. In Klalius Abriya, the entire creation all together, from that Atzilus all the way to the smallest grain of sand, Kineged Kodem Abriya, when compared to before creation existed at all, the entire creation, Atzilus, Bia, Yitzir, is only half a mamar. It's like a little child saying buildings. Kika Shleimus, because Shleimus, perfection, exists only in Ein Sof, only in infinity. V'sham u'pchinas mama sholem. There, it is a complete saying. This is only in the Bereshis. In the bara, in the creation, it's only Chatzi Mama. Shu klalis abriya u'Chatzi Mama keneged the Bereshis. In other words, the bara, which is the entire creation, vis-a-vis the Bereshis, the before creation, is Chatzi Mama. At Torah, vis-a-vis Tefillah, which is above it. That's why they said Bereshis Yireh Boishis. The word Bereshis also contains one of the 70 rectifications of Shem Baruchai. The word Bereshis is called Yireh Boishis. Somebody who fears, both Yira and Boishis and Busha. Bereshis represents Yira and Busha, which is the Tefillah. B'chinas Yiras Hashem Tisalol, Shu Ma'amar Shalom. Yira and Busha. They're both synonyms. They both come from one another. When somebody, when you're walking around the house, maybe, I don't know, you're just wearing a shirt and pants, and a very, very dignified person comes to your house suddenly. Your in-laws suddenly come, I don't know, whatever it is, say, I'm sorry, listen, let me get dressed, let me just put. This is from Yirsa Kovad. And this busha that they saw you, that that you're, what's it to be ashamed of? You in your own house. It's not to be ashamed. It has nothing to do with that. The busha and the yira are both, a tandem that comes together. The Ken Emunah Nikra Yerushalayim, that Emunah is called Yerushalayim. That the main Yerushalayim is called, we said before, Yerushalayim is called a faithful city, Kira Ne'emona. And the inner reason why the Emunah is called Yerushalayim, Al Shem Sheikar Binyono B'Bereshis. Yerushalayim, the holiest city in the world. Why is it the holiest city in the world? Because it stems from Bereshis. It has these two inyonim in it. Yira, Shalom. Yerushalayim is Yira Shlema. A perfect Yira. That's Yerushalayim. What is Yira Shalom? What is perfect Yira? Perfect Yira is Bereshis. Is before the Beriah. Yerushalayim is Bereshis in this world. That's why it's called Yerushalayim, Yerushalayim. Ki Tomon Yira, Tomon Shalom. In the word Yerushalayim there is the word Yira and is the word Shalom. That's what it says. Bereshis, Yireh Boishis. Mama Shalom, a complete Mama. Because Emunah comes from the Royam. B'ezrat Hashem, we will continue this next week. And we'll finish that particular machshava before we get to a little bit, I would say, more, how we manifest this more into Avodas Hashem and a few strategies and tactics on how to use it on a day-to-day basis. So, thank you very much for being here tonight. And B'ezrat Hashem, tomorrow night there is Torah Lamed in from the Breslev Mismedrash in Lachish. B'ezrat Hashem.